Sister in Islam is a non-governmental organization comprised of a group of professional Muslim women who dedicate to fight the advancement of women's rights in Malaysia. Sister in Islam was established in 1988 by Dr. Aminah Wadud. In 1993, Sister in Islam was finally being registered as one of the non-governmental organizations that are aimed to focus more on challenge the laws and policy in the name of Islam that discriminate against women. Their objective is focusing on protecting democratic values and fundamental liberties as provided by the Federal Constitution, also about the human right which Sister in Islam began to take public stand on religion and expression freedom. Reason why Sister in Islam was established because of a lot of complaints and grievances made by the women as the result of unfairness from the Sharia court. Next reason is because of the emergence of several issues that related to gender discrimination and domestic violence which focus on the defense of women. Sister in Islam has carried out 4 different parts of the project, which the first part is for research activities. Then, for the second part, carry out the responsible for educating the general public citizen, while the next part is for advocacy and law reform, and last but not least is the part for resources and library section.
There are several activities implemented by SIS. The first activity is international relations. SIS' contribution to women is not only in Malaysia but also around the world, especially in Islamic countries. Next, SIS activities in community engagement. On the basis of concern and responsibility, SIS has been involved in various communities such as single mothers, teenagers, professional women and students to provide a clear understanding of the law and their rights in society. The last is the contribution in the mass media. SIS has been given full trust by Utusan Malaysia to handle the law and you column every Friday. Sister in Islam Project Division. In this part, SIS has divided it into 4 divisions. The first part of the SIS project is the Research Division. The officer is responsible for conducting studies on current issues touching on women's rights. In the study, SIS did not set aside the opinion of Islamic scholars. The second part is the Public Education Division. It is responsible for providing training such as seminars and motivational camps to single mothers, women, and the next target is teenagers. They will be introduced about family law, other law of interest, and also leadership values. Next is the Advocation and Law Reform Division. The officer is fully responsible for family and related legal aspects. He needs to identify the classification of the law, the impact of the implementation of a law, and the way of defense in the event of a court action. This division is also responsible for handling the Law and You Utusan Malaysia newspaper every Friday. The last part of the project is the Resources and Library Division. Program officers are entrusted to maintain the SIS website and email. For any problems that arise, readers can send the question via email to SIS. The officer was also assigned to publish book. Issue Muslim family law and legal system. Move to end child marriage in Malaysia. In 2019, SIS calls on the Malaysian government to take proactive steps toward ending child marriage for all Malaysian children by enacting required legal change and implementing basic initiatives. SIS agrees with the fatwa issued by Al-Azhar that marriage in Islam is on the concern of both parties, especially young women. As a result, in order for consent to be legally given, the young woman must have achieved the age of maturity and cognition. The fatwa declares clearly that a woman can legally express her desire to marry at the age of 18. According to the SIS, allowing marriage to minors not only shows a weakness in the law, but also shows a weak government priority for children's education. Ben Abdul Wakis uphold the child's right to a name, identity, and family. SIS urges all parties to defend children's right to their names, identities, and families as the interests of children should be a primary consideration in all laws, policies, and decisions affecting the group. The term bin Abdullah is regularly used to refer to Muslim children born out of wedlock, and bin Abdullah children are frequently ridiculed, harassed, and bullied. This also urges the federal court to recognize the man who is the father of the child in the case of a Muslim baby born out of wedlock to be registered as the father in the official identification document. This is of the view that the practice of registering a Muslim child with bin or binti Abdullah if they are born within 6 months after the date of marriage cause serious and unfair effects on the child's emotion and future.
The second issue is violence against the woman. In this issue, they said that we need a sexual harassment act. Sister in Islam fight to ensure the government can follow up about the progress of the sexual harassment bills. Sister in Islam highlight 3 things to the government, which is the first one is about the timeline for the harassment bill that seem to be delayed. Sister in Islam want the government to give a clear timeline for them after the bill was not tabled on July 2019. Next, Sister in Islam also highlight about the content of the harassment bills. They want an explanation of the framework about all the process. Sister in Islam highlight is about the government proposed to change the Criminal Procedure Code, CPC. Sister in Islam want the government to do a further studies about their plan to change the Criminal Procedure Code because it cannot be seen as a suitable replacement toward the sexual harassment bills. Second is the time must fit the crime. On 9 February 2019, Sister in Islam was briefly fight and argue about the crime has been made by the Muhammad Rizwan Zakarian toward his own 5 years old pupil. Basically, in this case, Sister in Islam is fight about the sentence and charge that court given toward him. Sister in Islam wanted the court to give a justice for the victim that have been trauma at the young age. They think that the punishment given was not suitable and not fit the crime he has been committed, which is one of the violence against the woman. Also, this case was charged under Section 354 of the Penal Code, which is a lenient sentence that was not correspond to the serious mistake he has been committed. And the last one is on the need to criminalize marital rape. Basically, in this issue, Sister in Islam was referring to the article published by the Malaysia Kini on 10 June 2015. According to the report, YB Nancy Shukri acknowledged the retention of the marital rape exception under Section 375 of the Penal Code in her parliamentary reply. This practically means that if the wife is not willing to do sexual intercourse with her own husband, it is not regarded as a rape. Sister in Islam was taking this issue seriously by arguing the government, especially Honorable Minister, to think and reconsider again the fact on the need to criminalize the marital rape because woman is not a sexual subject for a man that can be used when they are not wanted to. If that happens, it can be considered as a discrimination against the woman because they are not respected women's feelings and dignity.
Sister in Islam SIS claim to be a movement that researches, promotes and fights for human rights according to an Islamic worldview. SIS is founded on the Western notion of human dignity, which is to preoccupy with the right to individual freedom without limits. This human right problem may be better understood by looking at the fundamental of the SIS formation of these two statements and understanding their trends and view. SIS criticism of Sharia and its application is viewed as particularly daring in the context of the fight for women's liberation under the Islamic family enactment. Attempting to make a statement in the Muslim community by opposing contemporary ideology and thinking is very much contrast with Islam's teaching, and they are continually trying to come up with an effective plan to do so. Whether or if the Islamic feminist movement actually supports the liberal stream will be revealed based on the SIS support and conformity with the ideal presented. Based on the examination of human rights according to the UDHR and UIDHR declaration combined with the position and statements of CIS via different activities and publication on human rights as understood and maintained by CIS, clearly reveals CIS is a liberal and friendly feminist movement. Human rights as a consequence of the battle for liberalization, West CIS began with its opposition to the policy of Islamization, criticism and rejection of Sharia law and its enforcement, rejection of religious institutions and including fatwas, its admiration for freedom and privacy rights in terms of absolute religious freedom, until its rejection of the Medina Charter and the punishment of apostasy, enough to justify the attitude and the position of the CIS as a feminist movement that is deeply concerned with human rights according to the mold of liberal Islam. An explanation from the point of view of the ideology of CIS struggle against human rights and their stance on the ideology of progressive Islam is sufficient to measure the similarity of the concept of the struggle of the CIS movement in line with the basic and characteristic of the liberal Islam struggle, thus strengthening the argument.